Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tom's Gadget Garage. Today I am out here with the Segway GT3 Pro dual motor electric scooter at what is the steepest publicly accessible paved road in the Phoenix metro area. And we're going to see if this scooter and its 7,000 watts of peak power has what it takes to make it up an over 23% grade. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is get geared up and we're going to head up the mountain. All right folks, so we are making our way up the mountain right now. Like I said, over 23% grade at the steepest part. And we shouldn't have an issue with this scooter. It does have dual motors. It's got 7,000 watts of peak power, all coming from a 72 volt 30 amp hour battery. So power should be more than sufficient. Now I do have all the settings set to default except traction control. I did go ahead and turn that off. And we're gonna go ahead and attempt this in sport mode. We'll just get through this gravel area here. We had some pretty intense storms and the street cleaners haven't cleaned this up yet. And so there's lots of gravel in different patches all the way up through here. But we'll see how this goes. Like I said, we are in sport mode, which does have a top speed of 31 miles an hour. And I think that should be plenty enough power for us to get to the top. And once we do get to the top, we'll have a good opportunity to test out the brakes. All right, make sure it's clear. And it is. All right. This is a nice windy road which gradually increases in steepness. Here's the sign, sharp curves ahead. That means we are getting into the steepest stuff. All right. Throttle is nowhere near all the way in, but I can't drive too quickly around a lot of these steep curves. Over 23% grade. Here we go, folks. We're making it up, no problem. Lots and lots of gravel. One thing I'll tell you is that the twist throttle on this scooter is very finicky. If you hit bumps while you're riding with it, it's very easy to accidentally pull back on that and you'll get a big old jolt of power. So I do wish they had equipped this with a thumb throttle. Like the Segway 9bot Max G3 that has a thumb throttle as well as a twist throttle. This is the first time I've been up here. At this time of the day. It's nighttime. It's almost 7 o'clock. And anyways, we got a beautiful view of the city out here. And as you can see, we came up this windy road, which, like I said, over 23% grade, all with this glorious Segway GT3 Pro. Tons and tons of power. We made it up in sport mode, no problem at all. What I'm going to go ahead and do is head on down the mountain, and we're going to go ahead and test out the brakes and make sure, you know, those perform well. This scooter does have hydraulic brakes with 140 millimeter discs, and they're nice thick discs at 2.3 millimeters thick. So they're not the thin, flimsy stuff that a lot of more budget-friendly scooters will come equipped with. That just means they're less likely to warp and give you much better stopping power over time. This scooter also has a suspension, by the way, which I will tell you is very plush. It's full hydraulic suspension with adjustment up front for rebound. No adjustability there, at least from what I've seen in the rear. But out of the box, I mean, this thing is very comfortable. Right now I've got regen set to weak in the app. If we want better regen, we can dial that up a bit. But I think weak is just fine. You can hear these brakes squeak. They started squeaking on me earlier today. But yeah, if anybody else has this scooter, let me know what your brakes sound like. It could be that we're breaking these things in still, but I think I've got well over 40 miles on this thing at this point. You know, we just started the whole testing on this, but I've been riding it around to get a feel for it. Anyway, straight ahead is downtown and uptown Phoenix. Beautiful view out here this time of night. I usually come out here either middle of the afternoon or early in the morning. And so this is definitely a different experience. But yeah, brakes are solid on here. Aside from the squeaky stuff, that'll probably go away over time. You know, if it continues like that, we'll clean them off. And if it still continues, we'll take a look at maybe some alternative pads. But yeah, plenty of stopping power on this scooter. If we come back up here again, I will put this thing into strong regen mode so that you can get an idea of what that looks like. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll swing back around. There's no need for me to test this out in race mode because there's not a lot of maneuverability. It's like tight curves all the way up, and we've got gravel all over the place. So sport mode is more than sufficient to get us up this mountain. All right, we'll test out these brakes. As you can see, plenty of stopping power, and I haven't even pulled them in all the way. We'll go loop around one more time. Once we get to the top, we'll throw it back into strong regen mode, and we'll see how it does. One of the things I wish they did with this scooter was bring the controls closer to your hands. Like, as you can see, you know, I can barely touch this turn signal here, and on the right-hand side, I mean, look at that. I can't even reach that. You know, if I had 6-inch long thumbs, okay, I'd be in a good position, but I don't. So anyways, it's just a personal preference. I would rather not have to look down at my controls every time I want to change something. And I have to do that with this scooter because the positioning of them. Anyways, we're going to come right back up once we see that sign, windy roads ahead. That's when we know we're in the thick of it. All right. And here's the steep stuff, folks. Coming back up. This is where it's over 23% grade. And you gotta just be really careful with this twist throttle because these bumps will make you kind of pull on that. And you can get a quick little jolt of energy. It's not a big deal on flat ground, you know. Flat, smooth ground, not a big deal at all, but when things get bumpy, yeah, not ideal. Made it up a second time. So with this scooter, they say, you know, I think 38% grades, you're not gonna have any issues at all whatsoever with pretty much anything you go up with this scooter. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch energy recovery here to standard. That's what they're calling it. And we'll go ahead and test out what standard regen feels like on this scooter. Oh, there we go, park mode. So always remember this scooter has park mode, so you have to pull on the brakes. If you're stopped for more than a few seconds, then you can get going. You have to keep that in mind if you're coming to an intersection, because I've done that before. Not only is it embarrassing, it's dangerous. Park mode is absolutely insane, and they should give riders the ability to turn that off because it's putting me in, you know, all kinds of strange situations which could have been avoided if they had just turned that thing off. So Segway, if you're listening, give us the ability to turn park mode off. Let us assume the risk. All right, I've released the throttle and we're gliding. You can probably see the speedometer on the screen. One thing I will say is Segway speedometers are very accurate, usually well within a mile an hour deviation from GPS, but usually, you know, very spot on, probably a fraction of a mile an hour. There's those squeaky brakes. I'll release them, and this is super steep, folks. We are just picking up speed quick. I'll go ahead and use our manual brake. So standard is enough to slow us down, but on a steep decline, which is over 20% decline, by the way, yeah, it'll continue to gain speed on you. So some of the Segway scooters, if I remember correctly, have strong regen. You know, I don't know, I have to check. They're always changing things with their firmware updates, but I thought there was a strong, but on this particular scooter, it is standard. But given this thing weighs like 114 or 117 pounds, you know, it does a pretty decent job. If you saw my video taking the Apollo Phantom 2.0 Stellar Edition, they've got a dedicated regen lever, which I absolutely miss not having on this scooter. Because that allows you to, you know, precisely control the regenerative brakes on that scooter. With this, it's basically release the throttle and regen kicks in. So when I do my endurance hill climb, though, this standard mode could be good to test out, you know, because it's not too aggressive. Some of the Segway scooters have really aggressive regen at the highest levels. And so coming down my endurance hill climb, that's up South Mountain, the 17.5 miles of windy mountain roads, that particular course, the regen is just too strong and I can't even like freewheel at all. So we don't have that on this, so that might be actually a good thing for putting juice back into that battery. But anyways, we made it up. That's our extreme hill climb test, just one of many tests I'm going to be doing on this scooter. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns. Stay tuned. I'll be publishing a bunch of content on this scooter here in the very near future. And as always, thank you so much for tuning into Tom's Gadget Garage. We'll see you next time.